The day began like any other on the Dry Creek Ranch. The sun was climbing above the horizon, painting the sky in strokes of gold and crimson. Daniel Carter, a rancher hardened by decades of work under the blazing Texas sun, tightened his hat and whistled for his border collie, Scout. The dog came bounding over, ears pricked, tail wagging, full of the same energy that Daniel wished he still had at 53. "Come on, boy," he muttered. "Cattle won't move themselves." The morning went as expected, herding strays back to the main pasture, mending a broken section of fence, checking on the spring that trickled through the canyon. But by mid-afternoon, Scout grew restless. The dog lifted his head, sniffed the air, then darted off toward the ravine. "Scout, get back here!" Daniel shouted. But the dog didn't stop, cursing under his breath. Daniel mounted his horse and followed. Scout led him down the narrow trail that wound into the canyon, deeper and deeper until Daniel heard the roar of falling water. They had reached the base of the old waterfall, a place he hadn't visited in years. There, Scout barked furiously at a tangle of brush at the water's edge. When Daniel pushed it aside, he froze. Behind the curtain of falling water was a shadow, an opening in the rock. "Would you look at that?" he whispered. Scout barked again, as if to say, "Go on, don't just stand there." Daniel slipped from his saddle, tied the horse to a cedar, and stepped through the cascade. The cold spray soaked his shirt, but his breath caught when he found himself inside a cavern. The air smelled of earth and minerals, and faint sunlight filtering through cracks revealed a chamber that seemed untouched for centuries. And then he saw it. At the far end of the cave, half buried in dust and stones, was a wooden chest. Its iron hinges were rusted, but the shape was unmistakable. Daniel's heart thudded in his chest as he knelt and brushed dirt away. The initials JH were carved into the lid. With effort, he pried it open. Inside lay stacks of yellow journals, old coins, and a pouch heavy with gold nuggets. On top of it all rested a leather-bound ledger. He opened it carefully. The ink faded but still legible. The journals told the story of Jeremiah Harper, a pioneer who had settled in these lands in the 1800s. Harper had struck gold but hid his fortune during a time of raids and unrest, leaving behind only cryptic entries for his descendants. For reasons Daniel couldn't yet understand, Harper's treasure had never been claimed. Daniel leaned back against the cavern wall, overcome. His ranch was drowning in debt. The bank was weeks away from foreclosure. Yet here, hidden behind a waterfall on his own land, was salvation. But as he turned the pages, he realized the true treasure wasn't the gold. Harper had chronicled his struggles, his dreams, and his belief that the land itself was the real inheritance. "Gold feeds you once," one line read, "but the earth will feed your children forever." Daniel sat there for a long time, Scout curled at his side, listening to the waterfall's endless roar. He thought of his late wife, of the daughter who had moved to the city, of the legacy he wanted to leave behind. When he finally emerged from the cave, he carried more than just the chest. He carried a new purpose. With the gold, he could save the ranch. Yes, but with Harper's words, he found a deeper strength, a reminder that life wasn't just about surviving, it was about passing on something worth keeping. From that day on, Daniel Carter was not just a rancher. He became a storyteller, a guardian of both land and history. And every so often, he would ride out to the waterfall, sit with Scout by his side, and whisper a thank you to the man who had hidden his legacy there. Because what Daniel found in that cave wasn't just treasure, it was hope.